Hi, Mark Ruff from Studio 3D here. Let's talk a little about 3D. This e-video is a basic introduction to some 3D fundamentals. 3D is not new and has been around since 1838, not too long after the first photograph was created in 1826. It's difficult to confirm, but it seems that 3D illustrations in anaglyph form may predate still photography. The first 3D feature film was The Power of Love in 1922. What's an anaglyph, you ask? Well, it's a method used to print an image and then see it in 3D using a special pair of coloured glasses, in this case red and cyan, complementary colours. Why complementary? Well, each lens filters out the other image, so each eye sees a corresponding left and right view. We perceive the image to be 3D through a phenomenon called stereopsis. Stereopsis is a brain function that interprets a 3D image as 3D by the change in parallax of each image. Parallax is the difference in perspective between, say, the left and the right eye. Let's put it to the test. Hold up a finger at arm's length. Close an eye, say your left, and focus on the background, that is, say, 2 metres or further away, while still holding up your finger. Now change your eyes. Close your right eye and open the left while still looking at the distant object. You should observe a shift in your finger relative to the background. This shift is called parallax. So, why is there some bad press about 3D? Well, there is about 1% of the population that cannot see 3D at all. Why is this? Well, it usually relates to a congenital defect called amblyopia, or lazy eye. This is a condition where the optic nerve is faulty, resulting in a blurry image or the perception of no image at all. It means that the brain only uses one eye to see the world. Although these people have little depth perception, it does not mean that they walk around bumping into walls. Of course, it can be corrected with either surgery or glasses. We can still perceive depth with one eye. Let's do an experiment, shall we? Make a fist and hold it out in front of you. Close one eye and with your other hand reach out and grab your fist. In this simple case, we know where one hand is relative to the other. In a still or moving 2D image, we can acquire a sense of depth with occlusions. When part of a subject is hidden by another object, we see that hidden or occluded object as being behind the subject that occludes it. Let's have a look at another example in the wild. We humans are considered predators. We have forward-facing eyes and are hunters. The creatures being hunted have eyes on the side of their head and have a very wide field of view. That is so that they can see the hunters and they can see them coming. These creatures do not have great depth perception, but then surviving is more paramount than pretty pictures. Predators often strike, so accurate depth perception is required. It makes me feel sick. This condition relates to motion sickness. Why do we get motion sickness? Well, this occurs when we have a conflict in sensory perception in what the eye perceives and what the mind conceives. Let me explain. Imagine yourself in a closed room in a boat at sea. You see a door and you see a picture on the wall. All is good, however you are continually swaying backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. So your eyes see nothing moving, but your middle ear tells you that you are. This conflict makes you feel sick. The reverse can actually occur in a cinema. It is dark. Your eyes are fixated on the screen and images move and objects come towards you. It's like you're there. It's quite realistic. This time your middle ear is telling you that you are fixed to the ground and nothing is moving, but your eyes are telling a different story. Technology has also come a long way. 3D of the past used 2 cameras and projectors. If they lost synchronisation, so each eye was seeing a slightly different image in time, only by a frame or two, And if the images were jittering about, then the experience is a strain and it could give you a headache. Modern projection with high frame rates of 144 frames per second, reduced flicker and are registered, so no ill effect can come from this technology. All this talk so far relates to stereo 3D, but where does the term come from? Stereo or stereos comes from the Greek meaning solid. In printing, cinema or TV, you'll have two discrete images, one for the left eye and one for the right. To see in 3D, you have to wear glasses. Creating 3D images is not too difficult. All you need is a single camera. You take a shot and move the camera a certain distance to the left and take another shot. It's best if you have a rail to steady the camera and move it to the correct position, but it can be done. So, what separation do you need between these two images? Well, the 1 in 30 rule is a good start. Our eyes are about 70 millimetres apart. This is known as the interocular distance. So, to represent 3D as we see it, you need to shift the camera from the first position to the next position with about 70 millimetres in between. This is known as the interaxial distance. Interocular is the viewing end, interaxial is the capture end. So, the 1 in 30 rule suggests that good 3D will be achieved if the subject is 30 times that away from the camera, or 30 times 70 millimetres equals 2.1 metres. Beyond that distance, you need to start separating the cameras more. If you go close up, then you need to move the cameras closer together. The mathematics gets quite complicated, and you have to take into account projection size and the distance away the viewer will be from the viewing device. So there are also some good iPhone apps out there that will do just this for you, making your calculations much easier. Auto stereo means you do not have to wear glasses. That is, you can see the 3D effect with the naked eye. This method is far more complex and is what Studio 3D incorporates with printing and electronic signage. Instead of having one image for each eye or two views, many more views, typically 48 to 96 views, are combined together and directed through a lens to each eye. This process is also called lenticular. A lenticular screen has lots of ridges. Each ridge is a lens and a multi-view image is interlaced and then aligned to the screen. The result is an image with depth without the need of glasses. It sounds complicated, and it sort of is, but it can be done. If I wanted to photograph, say, this small hard drive, then I would take a single camera, take a shot, move the camera a little, take another shot, move the camera a little, take another shot, and repeat the process ad nauseum until all the correct number of views were obtained. The problem here is that nothing moving can be photographed since the capture process is linear. The solution is to use a camera array that captures all the key viewpoints in 3D instantly. But now the problem exists. I can't actually get 96 cameras in a space this wide. However, I have developed a solution, but since this is a trade secret, I can't tell you. Converting images from 2D to 3D is also possible. However, these images usually fail when considering the human form or face, since us humans are very good at recognising people and faces. If the image does not look right, then it is rejected at a subconscious level. That is, it does not look right. I'm not sure why, but it just looks wrong. Unless it's very convincing, it will fail. Conversion also takes a lot of time, so the time and cost of conversions is not really practical, especially in the area of portraiture, and this is where I'm concentrating. I can do it really well, efficiently and quickly. Now, if you want to see it done really well and really right, then may I suggest you go and see a feature film called The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, or go to the TED site and look at this link below. I think you'll find it's a real insight as to how they can make feature films these days. Now, the film was not made in 3D, but it does provide an example of what is required to do conversions or computer-generated imagery really well. So this is why capturing in 3D is important. It's simply much better and much more efficient. What makes my imagery so compelling is the depth budget. Whether it's auto stereo or stereo 3D, there is only so much depth available. And you'll find that most consumer level compact 3D cameras or video generally capture depth over the scene. That is from say 1/2 metre to infinity. This tends to make people look quite flat and like cardboard cutouts, say against a mountain, because you've got to get depth over that entire scene. Studio 3D's approach and method is quite different, where we get the depth over the subject. Now the subject in this case is a person, so I can use all my depth budget over that one subject or person. This makes it look like the person is there and not a flat cardboard cutout. It is far more compelling and importantly, it is far more memorable. Let's have a quick look at Charlie. Charlie is an award-winning quality image in the 3D community. Charlie was photographed when she was 2. It's a lovely image. The lighting, the expression and the depth make this a beautiful image. 3D on itself is a gimmick, but when you craft it well with nice imagery, it works very, very well. In 2D, this image works really, really well. In 50 years' time, Charlie will be 52. Charlie and her friends will be able to look back on this image in wonderment, how innocent and cute she was. In a further 50 years, Charlie may not be with us anymore, but this image will survive her and her family can remember her in a special way. It is like she's there. So, how would you like to be remembered? All this technology generates compelling media with depth. 3D, it's the way we see. Thanks for being a part of this video, and I hope to see you in the studio sometime. I'm Mark Ruff from Studio 3D.